Good morning from aboard the Disney Dream. We are on our 13-night transatlantic cruise across the Atlantic Ocean. We are on day 8. It's the first of 5 sea days, so a lot of activities and adventures around the ship today. First on the schedule, 11 o'clock, Ducky Williams, a famous Disney artist. I've never seen him speak, but apparently you get a raffle ticket. He does a lot of drawings, and you could win one of them. He did a lot of the lithographs back in the 90s for Walt Disney World. Things for cast members. I'm sure I have a couple of them, actually. Then we have a tequila tasting at 12 o'clock. I'm not a fan of tequila, but Stacy is. So I'm going to accompany her, and she may get a few of my samples, but I'll certainly try a few. Then the rest of the afternoon, free time, trivia and things around the ship. Tonight will be an animator's palette for a new-to-me menu. I don't believe I've ever had this menu, so we'll see what's on it. And then tonight, there's a show from the Walt Disney Theater Performers. I'm not sure if it's a show or a jukebox kind of thing, something about Disney music. So that'll be fun, something new. So basically just a fun day around the ship. We'll see what happens.
We're heading up Cabanas for breakfast today, and all the usual goodies. Of course, we have eggs Benedict and hollandaise, all the necessary ingredients for your traditional English breakfast, mushrooms and baked beans. And making another appearance today, Mickey churro waffles. At this point in the cruise, it's getting a little bit easier to not want to grab everything on the buffet. Today we're just doing eggs Benedict, a little bit of cheese, some smoked salmon, and we have a great view off the back of the ship. It's a little quiet this morning. I feel like everybody is maybe sleeping in after our day in port in the Azores yesterday. So it's a good time to take in a little bit of funnel vision, just relax on the promenade deck in a deck chair, watch the ocean go by, as well as some of our best friends. Mickey and Minnie were heading down to a group photo session with all the rest of our friends. They did this several times during the cruise. The navigator says it's time to head to the theater to see Ducky Williams give his presentation, and I was incorrect earlier. Tomorrow he gives away drawings.
For Ducky Williams!
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm not sure how many were at my last show. This show that we're doing today is a little bit different. It's not the same as my presentation the other day. I will be repeating that presentation tomorrow, at which time you'll get raffle tickets if you come tomorrow. We will be giving the drawings out tomorrow. But today we're just kind of doing demonstration drawing. For those of you who didn't come the other day and don't know who I am, I'd like to take a couple of minutes just to kind of give a brief overview of who I am and what I do. My name is Don Williams. I go by the nickname of Ducky, and that's because of Donald Duck. And I've been with Walt Disney World Company for 37 years as a senior character artist. I've since retired, but I'm still doing work for the company. I'm busy as ever. And what I do basically is I draw all the characters for Walt Disney World and a lot of other places. I draw for the cruise line. I draw for Disneyland a little bit Disneyland Paris, Shanghai, Hong Kong, but primarily my work is done at Walt Disney World. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to do what I normally do as a how to draw class, where you draw along with me, but obviously here in this theater, it's kind of awkward for you to draw with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to demonstrate how Mickey Mouse is created. I'm going to go through the steps 1, 2, 3 at a time. And then I may change Mickey Mouse into Minnie Mouse for you, okay? And then we're going to open it up mostly for questions and answers, okay? I know a lot of you have questions, and I've got a few stories. I've been around the company a long time, and I've seen it since when there was just the Magic Kingdoms when I started. I saw Epcot being built. I've seen Animal Kingdom Studios. I've seen the whole company grow, and I've got a lot of stories, and I'd like to share some of those with you. But for right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the steps of drawing Mickey, okay? Okay? Mickey's ears are ovals, they're not circles. And they don't set right on top of his head. They're actually more on the sides of his head. As a matter of fact, they're going to touch this upper division line that you got there, okay? There's 2 large ovals, slightly tilted, one on each side of his head. That you're going to got here. And you get yourself a Mickey Mouse. Now, what I'm going to do It's a different angle of Mickey, but it's still based on all the same things that I just did before. Starting with the circle, oval for the muzzle, oval for the eyes. You know, you drop the U shape off, the oval for the nose, the cheek goes around it. It's the same thing, it's just turned around a little bit, okay? But what I haven't done is I haven't darkened it all in yet. I'm gonna make some changes, okay? And what I do, if I take 3 long lines, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and put them on the top of Mickey's eyes like that, and if I slap a bow on the top of his head, like so, big bow, fat, then I can go ahead and darken this part in real quick. And put the ears on. You can see part of this one. And if you want to dress her up, you can throw a little lace collar around her neck. Then you get yourself a Minnie Mouse. Okay? And the reason, we're going to open this up to questions and answers in a few minutes, but the reason I did this Mickey, because this is the same Mickey that I taught Michael Jackson to draw. I taught Michael Jackson how to draw Mickey Mouse, and that's kind of a long, funny story, and I'd like to share it with you. If anybody remembers way back at Walt Disney World at Epcot, way back in the early 80s, they did a show called Captain EO. It was a 3D, about a 20-minute 3D short with Michael Jackson, and he did all the thriller type of moves and everything, you know what I mean? And it was going to be in the Imagination Pavilion. And when they were planning that attraction, they came to our department to have the poster made. There'd be a poster outside and had a large portrait of Michael, you know, as Captain EO and all this kind of stuff. But anyways, our department was going to do the poster for that attraction. And our department first met with Michael Jackson way at the beginning. Now, I grew up, I was a kid in the 50s and a teenager in the 60s. But when I was a teenager in the 50s, I had a lot of teenage brothers and sisters. So for me, I knew music groups like the Platters and the Shirelles and the Supremes and stuff. I really wasn't into pop art that much, okay? So anyways, I know my boss, Ralph Kemp, the guy that hired me, he was my boss, the guy that I owe my whole career to. If it weren't for Ralph, I would never be where I am today. I would never be a Disney artist. But anyways, he was my boss. And I'm in my office painting one day, and he comes into me and he says, it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he says to me, is there any way you can work late tonight? I said, yeah, sure, I work late all the time, okay? And I said, what's up? He says, well, Michael Jackson is coming here tomorrow. And I want to know if you could stay. You don't have to do an elaborate background or anything, but if you could just do a painting of Mickey doing the moonwalk. And I'd like to get, if you can get it done overnight, I'd like to give it to him when he comes here tomorrow. I said, yeah, sure, I'll be happy to do it, but I got 2 questions for you. Who's Michael Jackson and what's a moonwalk? And so they took me in a conference room and they showed me this videotape of this Michael Jackson with his spiked gloves and everything, okay? So I stayed that night and I did Mickey in a pose with the gloves and all that. And I got it finished. I stayed till about 4 in the morning. The next day I come in, I give the painting to Ralph, he liked it, and he says to me, now look at Michael's coming here and I want him to meet you. So stay in your office. Don't go out getting coffee or go visiting with all the other artists that you do every morning. Just stay in your office, okay? I'm gonna bring him around, I want you here. I said, okay, I'll here. So what happened was, I'm in my office, working away all morning. It gets to be like 11 o'clock. And it's the point where I gotta make a trip to the restroom. So I said to the artist next to me, I said, look at Mike, we're all supposed to be Michael around here. I said, I could go to the restroom. So if he comes, just tell him I'll be right back, okay? So I go to the restroom, and one of the other artists is in there, and he's all excited. Did you see Michael Jackson? I said, well, no, not yet. I said, Michael's supposed to bring him to my office. He said, well, he's gone. He left about 15 minutes ago. I said, what do you mean he's gone? Well, we're supposed to bring him around. He's gone. Okay, I go back to my house and I sit down. And about 10, 15 minutes later, Ralph comes in and he's all sheepy and embarrassed, and he says, I'm really sorry. I meant to bring Michael, but all of a sudden he got called away and he had to leave like right away. And so I mean, I said, Ralph, don't worry about it. I don't even know who he is. I said, if you're going to pull that with like Matt Funicello or somebody like that, then you're going to have a problem. Okay? But with Michael Jackson, it didn't matter. So anyways, months later, I got to meet him. Because like I say, this artist of ours, his name was Harry Russell. He's an amazing artist, did beautiful work. He was doing the portrait of Michael for this poster. And I pity the guy because that poster had to be approved by everybody. It had to be approved by Michael Jackson, by George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, Michael Eisner. I mean, everybody had to approve this poster. And he was doing an absolutely beautiful job. But Michael would come over to our department to look at the poster and approve it. And as soon as Harry Russell got it pretty much done, Michael would change his face. And we got this nose surgery, so he had to go back into the poster and change his nose. And no sooner did that, and a month or so later he comes in and he got that little dent put in his chin. So he had to go back and put that little dent in the chin, And then he started changing the pigment in his skin, so he had to go and adjust that. I mean, he was driving this guy crazy. And he came over this one time and he says he wanted to learn how to draw Mickey. So Ralph, my boss, calls me and he says, can you teach Michael how to draw Mickey? So Michael and myself went to the little conference room, just him and me, and I taught him just the way I showed you here. I drew a circle, and he drew a circle, and I did this, and he did that. And I was there for about a half an hour with him. Very nice, very polite, very soft-spoken fellow. And he actually drew a pretty nice picture. I asked him if I could have it. Imagine if I had him like Mickey Mouse drawn by Michael Jackson. But he wanted mine, I gave him mine, and I said, can I have yours? And he said, well, I want to keep it. Okay. So anyway, I taught Michael how to draw Mickey Mouse, and about a month later he came again to approve the painting, and he asked for me, and he came into my office and stood over me, he wanted a Peter Pan. So I drew a Peter Pan for him. And then it was probably a couple of years later when they sent me over to Disneyland Paris for the grand opening, because they had a lot of celebrities going over for the opening. They had thousands and thousands of press going and all this kind of stuff. And they invited all these celebrities, and Michael was one of them. And he came up to me, he remembered me, so we got to be kind of like buddies, So, anyways, that's my Michael Jackson story.
Time for our tequila tasting, once again in the Skyline Lounge. This tasting is $45 per person, and as I mentioned, I'm not a big fan of tequila, but I will try anything once. And we're going to start out with your basic Blanco tequila.
All right, so today we have 3 tequila we're going to sip on, and we have mezcal.
So you like the first one? Don Julio. I think we're going to like all of them.
It's tequila. What's not to like?
During the course of the tasting, we sampled a Blanco, then a Reposado, and finally an Añejo tequila. We also had a margarita that they made, and we finished it off with a Mezcal Old Fashioned, which frankly was pretty awesome. Now we're going to head to a seminar from the main theater techs and performers on puppetry.
Well, Marley is working on a special surprise. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about puppetry in the Walt Disney Company. So, as the staging captain, I overlook the direction of our shows here in the Walt Disney Theater and around the ship, and part of what I overlook is puppetry. Now, puppetry has been a part of storytelling here at the Walt Disney Company from the very beginning. Since we produced Snow White in 1937, puppeting was a part of the marketing efforts all across Hollywood. They would put on marionette shows to to advertise for the movie, which of course became one of the biggest hits then of 1938. We have puppets in our parades, in our parks all across the globe. We have puppets in our rides, in all of our Fantasyland dark rides and other rides across the different amusement parks. And we have puppets in our live entertainment offerings across the parks as well. Now, puppetry has been a part of my life as a performer my entire time here at Disney Cruise Line. So in Frozen, we have puppets like Sven and Olaf. Those of you who have seen Tangled on the Disney Magic, we've got Maximus. These are pretty big puppets. So these kind of puppets are called full body mechanical puppets. That means that in puppets like this, we have an actor in a harness and they are strapped into the puppet and they use the different mechanisms of the puppet, but those puppets are specifically designed with weight and pressure distribution for the health and longevity of the actor who's portraying that role. So how many of you saw the Golden Mickeys? You did, okay. So you saw some of our puppet friends in the Golden Mickeys? Okay, so we have a special surprise for you today. So we're gonna meet Bob the Goldfish. Coming over here, Bob. Looking great. Okay. And then we have, who's next?
Sebastian!
Coming out here, Sebastian. And last but certainly not least, we have Jelly. Come on out here, Jelly. Looking fabulous. Alright, and then Marley's going to tell us a little bit about these different puppets.
Yes, alright, so starting here, we have who we call Bob the Goldfish. Bob the Goldfish appears in Under the Sea, as do all of these, in Golden Mickeys.
Everyone say bye, Sebastian. Bye, Jelly. Bye, Bob the Goldfish. And my favorite puppet. Alright, this is Kevin. This is the actor who plays the role of Puppetry. Yes, he's incredible. Fun talking about Kevin, actually. I was telling you that Frozen opened yesterday, 5 years ago, on the Disney Fantasy. Kevin actually opened portraying the role of Olaf on the Fantasy, and we opened together to spend Olaf. So that's fun. Okay.
So Cogsworth here is also maybe one of my favorites, but I have a lot of favorites, but it's fine. I have to love them. I do. But Cogsworth, the actual style of the puppet is very mechanical, which fits with Cogsworth's character, because he is indeed a clock. The enchanted object puppets that we have that you'll get to see later this week, there's a large variety in shape and size, and it's a true treat. I'm very excited for you guys to see it. But yeah, this is Cogsworth. There is also a special little surprise that happens during the show, but you have to be very eagle-eyed to be able to see it because there's a lot going on. But if you would maybe like to sneeze. All right, who can tell me what this is? Zombies? Yes, so this is my favorite feature of Cogsworth. That's kind of hard to see in the show, but since you're at this workshop, we thought we would let you have a special little close-up look to see this puppet. But yeah, so keep an eye out for the show. But yes, this is our beautiful friend Cogsworth. So I will let Cogsworth go back behind these scenes, and Kevin can start with a question and answer portion for our last little bit.
Lunch today is back in Cabanas, and they have some vegetarian options like a feta stuffed zucchini and some baked polenta. There's also peppered shrimp and roasted red snapper. The highlight for me today, though, is the German options. There is a chicken schnitzel, some red cabbage, and spätzle as well. Take that out to the pool deck, get yourself a little bit of Mexican from Ramon's Cantina, find a nice overlook of the ocean, and you couldn't ask for a better lunch.
Well, it's about 4 o'clock on our first of 5 days at sea in a row. The weather is pretty nice. The temperature's 70 or so, but the wind is really picking up, and it's got a bit of chill in it. So I decided to come inside and read my book a little bit. We did our tequila tasting, which was really fun and informative, and I had a mezcal old-fashioned, which was really good. Like I said, I don't like tequila, but the smokiness of the mezcal, it was almost like I wasn't drinking tequila. He had muddled some orange and cherry together. It was really good. So that was great. We relaxed on deck a little bit because the captain informed us in his daily noontime announcement that the day after tomorrow we're going to start experiencing higher winds, higher waves, some bands of rain. So today and tomorrow may be our peak days for sunshine on the deck. Our captain really likes to talk weather. He went on for, I swear, like 10 minutes about the pressure and what was coming at us and stuff. But that was great. At least we know. So tonight, just some more hanging out, and like I said, dinner at Animator's Palette, and we'll check that out in just a bit.
One thing we always mean to do on the cruise is to get some room service, especially the all hands on deck cheese plate. And today, since we had some extra time, it was time for a snack. Room service is included in the price of the cruise. Make sure, though, that you bring some dollar bills so that you can tip the server that brings the food to your room. If you call, they will also come back and get your tray. Alternatively, you can just leave it outside your door and your steward will pick it up.
Yes, Mickey. Let's all dance the hot dog dance.
We passed a dance party in the D Lounge on our way to Pink Champagne Bar for happy hour. Happy hour in Pink includes half-price cocktails, and when those cocktails were $15 originally, half price is not a bad deal. And don't forget, you're free to walk around the ship with any drinks that you've bought or some wine from your room. So that's what we did, and we headed to And the Award Goes To, which turned out to be a collection of Disney songs. The show was a good performance, just not particularly memorable, as I can't remember any of the songs that they sang. Anyway, it was time for some trivia, and this was Disney Parks trivia, and I thought we'd do pretty good since we did work in the parks for 3 years. There was a strange bit of contention around a question. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is the first ride-through attraction to star Mickey Mouse. Now, I'm not sure of what other people might be thinking, that there is some argument over this. As far as I know, it's the first.
It's a very controversial question. Okay? So, I might just give like points to people who give you other possible answers.
No idea what those other possible answers were because nobody stepped up to argue, so I guess it was a non-issue. We're back in Animator's Palette tonight for the World of Flavor menu, and this spotlights different dishes from around the world. There's definitely some interesting items on here, including with the bread service, a liverwurst spread, and if you remember my suggestion from the liver pate, do a little bit of spread and a little bit of butter and see what you think. For appetizers, we got the Canadian cheddar cheese soup and the Vietnamese spring roll. The soup was good, but when your standard for cheddar cheese soup is what you get at Epcot in the Canada Pavilion, you've got a pretty high level to reach, and so this was good. Just wasn't that level. The spring roll was pretty scrumptious though. It had shrimp, noodles, cilantro, cucumber, basil, and a little bit of lettuce. The flavors were all excellent, but what I really liked was the texture. I also got the American iceberg wedge salad with tomatoes, red onions, and blue cheese, and once again, there was not enough dressing on my salad. I had to ask for more, which was fine. For her entree, Stacy got these Swiss pork tenderloin medallions, which came with some spätzle, a wild mushroom sauce, broccoli, roasted onions, and a little bit of sour cream. The main comment on this one was that it was a lot of food, way more pork than she could eat. I chose the Indian prawn curry, which was shrimp flavored with coconut and curry over rice, and this was really tasty. The only fault was there wasn't enough broth at the bottom. Options on the dessert menu tonight include an apple strudel, a chocolate pear tart, tiramisu, a strawberry cheesecake, and we got the pecan pie ice cream sundae, which we thought was a little bit lacking in the pecan pie bites that had been promised on the menu. Now we're off to more trivia, and the category is Walt Disney Feature Animation Trivia, and since I worked for animation for 9 years, I thought I'd do much better than 16. That's just kind of sad. Wah wah. And we'll call it a night. We still have 4 days at sea in a row to go, and I'm really loving this life.